Hello and welcome to the programme from me, David Foster. Get a famous face, get that face to say a few nice words. Smile for the camera, and that's your campaign off to a flying start. Or is it? There are questions now about whether celebrity activism really does any good. This is Roundtable. Not only might it not apparently help, but with more faces than ever tied up with NGOs and charities, there are some suggesting their presence may be a hindrance.
Celebrities. They make us laugh, they keep us entertained, and they provide a distraction from our daily lives. But sometimes they become campaigners too. Since the early 20th century, celebrities have lent their support to different charity efforts, from calling for solutions to environmental issues to protecting animal rights or helping children in poorer countries. But does celebrity activism always make a difference? Oxford University researchers looked into 79 campaigns in 9 countries between 1976 and 2018, with a total of 181 celebrity endorsements. They struggled to find evidence that the celebrity campaigns were effective. Only 40% revealed what they were trying to achieve. Most said it was to get more media coverage. The study also pointed to the risk of a negative reaction to celebrity involvement, which might harm the cause. There's no doubting celebrities can help to get a message out there. But does it lead to positive change?
Time to say hello to our guests, each one of whom, of course, will be a household name after this programme. Alegria Olmedo joins us from Oxford, where she's a researcher at Oxford University and is looking into the use of celebrities in environmental campaigns. We say hello to Paul Cullen, talent manager working with celebrities interested in good causes, and Margarita Sachkova, the digital media manager at the animal rights group People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, known as Peta. Great to have each one of you on. Alegria, let me come to you first of all, because you wrote an article that drew our attention to this, in which you questioned the use of celebrities, and you said sometimes their very presence can get in the way of a campaign.
That's right, yeah. Well, I looked at the effectiveness of celebrities in environmental campaigns, and I wanted to explore the extent to which celebrity endorsement has been used in environmental campaigns specifically, whether their endorsement is being evaluated, and if there's evidence of their effectiveness in this field. And among the research that I came across, there were a few research papers that talked about how sometimes, like when there is a celebrity endorsing a message or presenting the message, and is the campaign's messenger, people might remember the celebrity, but they might not remember the message as well. So they're clearly distracted by the celebrity, and it's because it's someone who they know, and that might catch their attention a lot more than the message itself.
Do you think it gets in the way, or is it simply something that is slightly distracting, but the message is still powerful, even if it's only subliminal?
Well, I don't know. And what I found is that there hasn't been really proper evaluation, or at least none that is available to the public, either in the peer-reviewed or the gray literature. So without this evaluation of, how subliminally or how unconscious these messages are really absorbed, or whether, they are absorbed enough that they change our behavior, whether it's like increasing donations or spreading the word or actually changing, for example, our consumption behavior, at the moment, we don't know. But there was one study that found that, celebrities, respondents, after being exposed to a message with a celebrity, they could remember seeing, for example, Prince William and David Beckham, but they could not remember at all what they had said.
I think it was something to do with the World Cup, actually, but that's maybe just me. Let me ask you, Margarita, because you at Peta have used celebrities in your campaigns, and you reckon the message gets out there because you do a follow-up afterwards to see what the response is.
Well, yeah, I'm quite confident that with our campaigns, in most cases, the message comes across. And to be honest, we live in celebrity-obsessed culture. And if I start talking to you about rabbits being skinned alive for fur, you probably wouldn't listen to me. But if I get Pamela Anderson or Sir Paul McCartney here, people would listen to them. And for animals, that makes the difference between life and death. And really having such big names supporting us helps us not just grab headlines and get some retweets. It also helps change behavior of their fans and make them think in which way they might be hurting animals.
But what
and how
about
they can change.
Alegria's point that there's a big name there, there's a worthwhile campaign, but that big name is the headline and it may drown out the message?
Well, I believe it can happen sometimes, but in most cases, we manage to get the message across. I think right behind you, you have one of our posters with Walking Phoenix, and it's our anti-speciesism campaign. And I'm pretty sure we released it just around the release of Joker, the movie. And I'm pretty sure his fans at least bothered to go and Google speciesism, the word, what it really means, because it's such a new term for many people. And you can just go to Google Trends and see if it went up or not. And we got quite a few new visits on our website, so we can definitely say that it helped generate some website visits.
We're talking about it now, 21st century, the year 2020, Paul, but how long has this sort of thing been around, celebrity endorsements?
Really, celebrity endorsements have been around for as long as anyone's being regarded as celebrity, really. I think you can date back to Great Ormond Street Hospital has had the royalties from Peter Pan since, I forget when that was published, was it the 1800s? So it's been an ongoing thing for quite a long time. It's not new, but I think, as has been mentioned, we're in a celebrity obsessed culture now, so it's slightly more kind of used more than it may have been in the past.
How do you know whether it's going to work with a particular person?
I mean, for me, I'd agree with both the points that they make. One point is that there isn't that great amount of evaluation around it. So that's due to the fact that what celebrities offer should be part of an integrated marketing mix, really. So you might get some messaging mixed with what they're up to, but ultimately you'll have advertising campaigns that are going around it, other forms of communication, social media, ads in the press, that sort of thing. So it really is a combination of tactics, really, which is why it's really hard to distinguish where the celebrity is bringing value.
It's all just as part of the mix, yeah?
Yes, yeah, and as measurement becomes much more sophisticated, such as Google Analytics and that type of thing, you can draw down a bit more. But really, the reason evaluation doesn't kind of exist as much as it may do is because it's part of a communications mix. So celebrity is part of the recipe, not the entire menu.
I was rather taken with an online discussion between you and Andres Jimenez, former NGO worker. This was in the New International. You made your point, he made his. He said it doesn't help, and this was one of the points he made. Celebrities and powerful personalities certainly have a free right to express their views on the issues they feel passionate about, but I wonder if many realize the extent to which they can easily drown and overpower many other radically different views and approaches that are fighting to be heard. Drown and overpower. How do you prevent that, Paul?
I think that's to do with the management of the message. So the organisation that is putting the celebrity forward actually needs to consider very much kind of the impact that they're going to have, and where one of the reasons you use celebrity or people with profile is because they're going to make you stand out. So it isn't necessarily fair, but I think in that particular circumstance, it was talking about going into impoverished countries where people didn't have a voice and slight white kind of savior type campaigns. But I think it's about appreciating what the celebrity is there for and kind of what the charity is looking to get from that. It's a difficult answer. I don't think there's a good answer to kind of drowning people out. I think it's hopefully governments and NGOs who make decisions will listen to all sides of the argument.
Okay, this is for each one of you, but I'm going to go to Alegria first. It's something that you just mentioned, Paul. They're there for many different reasons, but one of the reasons could be that they're there for themselves.
first, what you said, Paul, about like, they're there for many reasons. One of the things that I believe is lacking, at least in my field, in the environmental campaigns, with the management of celebrities, or perhaps like the design of these campaigns, or with celebrities being part of the communications mix, is that the reason why celebrities are there isn't quite, it's just not really maybe like as specified as it should be, or as defined enough. Because then if you have something that, a specific reason why celebrity is there, and particularly something that you can measure, for example, if we want them to increase these many donations, then you can come back to it at the end. Evaluation should allow for you to be able to tell if they actually accomplished why they were included in the first place.
I suppose my point really was that they're not necessarily there for the campaign, they are there to promote themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you, for example, like in this study that I mentioned earlier, where they found that people couldn't recall the message that the celebrity was delivering at all, then in that case, a lot of effort and resources and perhaps a lot of money has gone into something that perhaps is like just more raising more publicity and more media attention for the celebrity rather than the actual message. And for example, there are a lot of campaigns who end up measuring or talking about reach when they talk about their success. Like how many people interacted in social media, how many likes or comments they got, or even just like how many people they know were exposed to the message. But that, without an analysis of the content of how people were engaging, what are the comments that they were writing on social media, or how people, what messages or feelings people walked away from being exposed to the message, there's no way to know if the message actually got through to people. Maybe all those comments on social media are about the celebrity themselves, and which again, would just be increasing publicity for the celebrity rather than communicating the actual message.
Well, but perhaps Margarita agrees with that and isn't worried about it, because as long as the likes and dislikes and followings and shares or whatever are higher than they otherwise would have been, something's been achieved, Margarita?
Well, yes, definitely. I would totally agree that you shouldn't just look at the number of comments. You, of course, need to look at the content of those comments. But for my field, for my cause, just anyone who is raising awareness about animal cruelty makes a huge difference, because to many people it's not known, and quite a lot of animal abuse is happening behind closed doors of abattoirs or factory farms. And such celebrity involvement really helps break the silence and makes those issues that otherwise would be just unknown go viral. That's why we quite often use celebrities to make narrations to our investigation. If you wouldn't watch some really shocking, horrific footage of what cows go for leather industry, if you have Stella McCartney narrating it, you can get quite a few people engaging with it just because they like her, and then along the way they would learn about that in the industry and would hopefully teach leather.
Without breaking confidences, would she get paid for that, and if so, how much? Or does she do it because she believes in the cause? Or do you get that sort of altruism in this industry?
We don't pay to celebrities. All Peta celebrity supporters do it just because they want to, and we don't choose them at random. They always support causes they're passionate about. So take Stella McCartney, she's fashion designer. Of course, she is very much into speaking about cruelty in leather and fur industry. And then you can take Pamela Anderson. She does a lot for animals in captivity. So we work with celebrities on the issues they feel really strong about and where they really want to change their fans' perception on.
Okay, I'm going to talk about embarrassment. Yes, please, Alegria.
Yeah, I have a question for...
Then I'll come to you, Paul. I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Margarita, do you ever run into the problem where celebrities, say, for example, someone has endorsed leather, for example, or fur, or even the issue of veganism, who are then the celebrity, like after having endorsed or being part of the campaign, then in their own personal lives, they are caught in a shot wearing leather or eating meat or something that then causes like controversy in that way?
Nobody will believe this, but that was the next question I was going to ask.
Beat you to it.
Margarita, quickly. And then we'll go to Paul, because that's something he should know about as well.
Well, I need to say in most cases they're not, and we had quite a few examples when it just turned into the opposite. They started with something quite easy, like a campaign against buying dogs from breeders but pro-adoption, and then people learned more and then eventually went vegan. But of course celebrities are people too, and sometimes you can see them doing things that you wouldn't expect them to do, but it happens really rarely. And I think the exposure they give to the issue, it still plays a huge role for those animals who are now abused on fur farms.
Placing a lot of trust, Paul, aren't we, in celebrities? If we say, as Margarita just did, we sometimes find them doing things that we wouldn't expect them to do when we're looking at their faces rather than their brains.
I mean, that goes back to doing your research and trying to find out as much about that person as you can, and their, you know, what their beliefs are, what they've said in the past, whether it's going to conflict with your messages. It's really kind of the groundwork that you would start. But to go back to your point about whether it's good publicity for them, I'd say if you're working with a celebrity and it's good publicity for them, you're probably working with the wrong celebrity. What you're trying to do is use their platform and their profile to raise your own profile. So the other way around, you're probably looking at it from a completely different perspective.
Are you wondering, are you thinking perhaps about the criticism that went Madonna's way when she was helping with this Malawi project, and she was criticized for getting fast track access to adoption and to other privileges, etc., and she got a lot of stick for it?
She did come in for a lot of stick around all that kind of her association with Malawi, but the kind of campaign that I was involved with before, or the piece I was talking about before with celebrity endorsement, is regardless of that, and regardless of that's the Western press actually talking about Madonna and publicizing it in their mind. But in Malawi, she's seen as you know, an incredibly important figure as far as.
Well, she is in the public's eyes, but not necessarily in the eyes of the officialdom out there.
I think they had a falling out. There was kind of with Malawi and Madonna, there's a lot of strands in that. So that's where the involvement goes beyond celebrity endorsement of a charity. That's, if you read her motivations for why she got involved in Malawi, it makes a lot more sense, and it transcends just your usual celebrity charity partnership, I would suggest.
Alegria, do you recognise this, which is that some celebrities spread themselves a little bit too thin, that you may see them associated with 5, 6, 7 different campaigns, not necessarily ethical campaigns, but campaigns, and then you don't remember which one it is that you either want to buy or support?
Absolutely, and that has another risk actually, and is that if celebrities are seen endorsing all sorts of products or even all sorts of causes, it has been found that people, you know, recognize that, and they have this feeling that, well, celebrities, this person will just endorse whatever they're paid for, and they'll just say whatever they get paid to do. So then celebrities are not perceived as genuine, and especially like if celebrities, as Paul was saying, if it's a wrong match between the celebrity and the charity, and the celebrity is not educated enough on that topic or does not have the expertise necessary, they could also come across as being really not passionate or like properly interested in the topic. And of course, there's celebrity fatigue as well. Like if we see the same celebrities over and over again, it could be that, you know, the next time we see them, we just want to shut off because this person's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at some notes on this. Tiger Woods, the golfer. At the height of Tiger Woods' popularity, he endorsed over 10 companies at once. And of course, it then backfired because all but Nike said goodbye to him for the time being after he became a little bit of an embarrassment.
What I'd suggest with that, what you're looking at are commercial partnerships, which is to go back to the point that with celebrities, you don't pay them. Some people will ask for a fee, but you just wouldn't pay them. It's too much of a risk to reputation. And also agents and celebrities themselves are becoming a little more clued up and a little more sophisticated about who they may support. So they'll look very much at looking to support an international charity, perhaps a national charity, and perhaps something much more local to them, but also something that they're really connected to. So whether it be a health charity, so somebody who's been affected by cancer, for example, or arthritis, they might go after that sort of charity. If it's animal welfare, it might be something that, you know, they feel very strongly about. So there's a lot of thought goes into it. It's not a random job that we do. It's kind of really thought out about who you approach, how you go about it, and also what the outcome of that will be.
Do they have
even
to
if
know
it's not
something
measurable.
about it in the first place? Or could you look at somebody and think this person looks nice and cuddly, good and wholesome, they would be perfect for our campaign, and Margarita, you then go out and educate them in what you think is the right way?
I think for us, it always happens, like in most cases, it happens the other way around. People are initially keen, or they're initially passionate about some issue, and then we collaborate together and see what we can do together. And sometimes you were saying that like they might look good in this campaign, but it's not necessarily just about those big glossy ads or films that you can make with celebrities. I think a lot of things have changed recently, and in the era of social media, even a retweet from a celebrity would go a long way. And as Paul rightfully said, it's celebrities who give us access to new audiences, to their audiences. Like Lewis Hamilton. Do you know any Formula One fans who would go on Peta website and watch our investigations? But after Lewis Hamilton shared our investigation into leather industry with his then 10 million followers, we had so many people who started following us and who learned that cows die long and painful deaths before they turned into leather jackets. And I'm pretty sure since Lewis Hamilton is also a style icon, quite a few of them decided to ditch leather and copy the style of their
Is there not a
idol.
danger, though, that somebody like Lewis Hamilton, and I'm not aware of what you've just mentioned, but he could retweet this, it goes out there, it's fantastic, you endorse what he says because he upholds your values. And then he, and this is where I'm not saying it's specifically him, but this sort of person could suddenly get very bored with it.
I think, as I said, celebrities are human too, and none of us is perfect. We all can get bored with and jump from one issue to another, but it's definitely not the case of Lewis Hamilton. We gave him the award of the most beautiful vegan, I think a couple of years ago. And since then, he posted so many videos about animal abuse. He opened his vegan restaurant chain. He launched a vegan fashion brand. He even urged his bosses at Mercedes to change their cars into leather-free cars. So with Lewis Hamilton, I feel like every single day he learns more about animal rights and does more to help the animals.
Okay, well, Paul, I mean, that is somebody who's clearly satisfied with a celebrity endorsement. Can you ever think of any in your career that have gone terribly wrong? And you don't have to name names, just give examples. Or shall I come back to you on that while you think?
Yes.
Okay, Alegria, tell me a little bit about what further research you're going to do and what difference you think it might make.
Well, the case study that I'm looking at in my research is consumption of pangolin meat in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. And we want to test how effective celebrities can be as influencers of behavior for the target audiences who are consuming pangolin meat in Ho Chi Minh City. So my upcoming research, which has been a little bit delayed because of COVID, is to test various celebrities whose names I've collected from my target audience in Ho Chi Minh City and test them with members from the target audience in focus groups to see how they relate to celebrities. Because a lot of the research that has been done on celebrities and on endorsement and how people react to them or how persuasive celebrities can be has been done in the West or, with the US, UK, and Australian respondents. So a little bit more has been done in Asia recently, but it's mostly been with younger people who are, all on board that celebrity culture and following everybody on social media. Yeah. But that is very different from the target audience that I'm looking at.
And I would have thought before I looked into this program, but it was very simply a question of opening up a talent magazine, thinking that face fits, I'll go for that. But it's pretty scientific, isn't it?
There's definitely thought around it. I think particularly those charities where they're very cause driven. So a lot of people know what PETA stands for, and you probably wouldn't align yourself with PETA if you didn't believe in what they do. Similarly, with a lot of charities that work in areas of animal cruelty, that type of thing, you kind of will know what they do. But there is thought that goes into this. It's looking, sometimes you look at someone and you think they're really popular at the moment. Let's see if they're interested. To go back to your point of whether you can introduce somebody to a charity, absolutely. Not everyone will know about every cause that's out there. So sometimes it's educating them around that.
And that needs a hunch, does it?
A hunch, and also researching trying to find that tangible, that kind of, it can be a very, weak link. I used to work for the RNLI, so most people have been to a beach. And so I used to sometimes go after people on that basis. I mean, but generally it's a much more thought out process, and it's thinking about what they can offer to the charity, because going back to the point around it being for their good publicity, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And also, because you don't pay for their support, you need somebody who's going to be committed to what your cause is.
No, I do understand it. And now people who are watching this may think I'm taking the easy way out, because I said I'd ask you about embarrassing moments where things have gone wrong. You didn't have to name anybody. You're going to have to tell me off air, because we're out of time. And that is absolutely true. Listen, thank you very much indeed, Margarita, to Paul and to Alegria. Come back and tell us a little bit more about what you find out about pangolins. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, wherever you happen to be watching this, for taking the time to watch Roundtable. From me, David Foster, from the team. Goodbye for now.